Picture this. You're sitting across a small, dimly lit table from your date.
Setting the scene, I like it.
Right. The atmosphere is decent, the drinks are fine, but something is just, I don't know, viscerally off.
Oh no. Let me guess.
Yeah, they're leaning in and they're trying so incredibly hard to impress you that right before your eyes, they have accidentally morphed into a human resume with a drink in their hand.
Oof. It is a very specific, mildly agonizing experience.
It really is.
You're sitting there, and instead of an actual organic conversation, you are receiving a rapid-fire PowerPoint presentation of their 5 a.m. cold plunge routine.
Oh, always the cold plunge.
Always. A flawlessly mapped out 5-year financial plan, their aggressive travel goals, and, a heavily emphasized commitment to their quote-unquote growth mindset.
It feels less like a human connection and more like you're being pitched a startup that you never actually asked to invest in. You just wanted to know if they like dogs and what they do on Sunday mornings. So, welcome to Modern Connection Lab, everyone. And this is our deep dive. Our core promise here is dating confidence without games.
No games, no weird tactics.
Right. And our mission for today's deep dive is to explore how to completely stop trying to impress people and instead make early conversations feel incredibly easy.
We really need to look at the root of why we do this, though. Because, we live in an era of hyper-optimization.
We trap everything.
Right, we track our sleep, our macros, we optimize our productivity. So naturally, we drag that exact same optimization mindset into our romantic lives.
We think we can hack it.
We do. We think early attraction is a metric we can hack by presenting the most impressive, flawless version of ourselves. But that is the fundamental core shift we have to make today.
Which is what?
That early attraction isn't actually built on being the most impressive, shiny person in the room.
Yeah.
It is built entirely on ease.
Okay, I am going to stop you right there and push back on this a little bit.
Go for it.
Because, wait, aren't we supposed to put our best foot forward? Like, if I'm going on a date or I'm messaging someone on an app and I don't show off my achievements, won't I just seem totally boring?
It's a fair question.
Like, if I don't play it a little cool to seem, high value, aren't I going to get passed over for the person who sounds like they have their life perfectly together?
It's a completely natural assumption, given the culture we live in, but it's fundamentally flawed for romantic connection. Let's look at the underlying mechanism here.
Like, what's happening under the hood?
Exactly.
That-
What is actually happening in the brain and the body when you do this? When you perform confidence by reciting your achievements, or when you use strategic waiting games to act mysteriously unavailable, you are creating attraction.
You're creating tension.
You're creating tension. You're turning the date into a background check.
Meaning I'm, like, forcing the other person to evaluate me.
Spot on. You are essentially demanding that the other person grade your performance. And that immediately puts them in the seat of a judge rather than a partner.
Oh, wow. Yeah, nobody wants to be graded over drinks.
Right. And from a neurological standpoint, when someone feels they're being evaluated, their nervous system goes on alert. They move out of a relaxed, receptive state and into a mild defensive state.
Which is the exact opposite of romance.
Completely. You want to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest, connection state. But a pitch deck, that puts them in the fight or flight state.
So by trying to prove that I am a shiny, valuable object, I am actually making their nervous system physically uncomfortable.
That's exactly it.
That makes a lot of sense.
But
We think we need to be a shiny object, but we actually just need to be someone who feels good to talk to. So you mentioned this concept of ease. What does that actually look like in the wild?
let's use a casual, non-clinical definition of emotional safety in the context of dating.
Okay, I like that. Emotional safety.
Ease simply means the other person feels noticed but not judged.
Notice, not judged.
Right. They feel invited into the interaction, rather than pressured to perform themselves. It simply means the interaction feels safe enough for both of you to just be real humans.
To just breathe.
Yes. When a conversation has actual room to breathe, and nobody feels like they're being tested on a rubric, attraction finally has the space to grow.
Invited rather than pressured. I mean, I think that sounds incredibly relieving in theory.
It is.
But let's get into the reality of this, because I know myself, and I know a lot of people listening right now are thinking the exact same thing.
Which is?
The moment I open that dating app, or the second I sit down at the table, my brain completely short circuits. All my natural conversational skills evaporate, and I default right back into interview mode because I just panic.
It happens to the best of us.
So how do we organically create this ease without following like some rigid script?
Well, it helps to think of it not as a script, but as a natural progression, like a framework of how humans naturally build trust.
Okay, lay the framework on me.
It generally moves through three simple phases: notice, ask, and connect.
Notice, ask, connect. Let's break that down because I want to know exactly how to execute this. It starts with noticing. Why is observation the starting line here?
Because noticing someone is the absolute fastest way to make them feel seen as an individual.
Like beyond just a profile picture.
Exactly. If you start a conversation with the generic line, you are implicitly telling them, I send this to everyone. But if you start with a specific observation,
Give me an example.
like your profile says you're learning salsa, or you lit up when you talked about your rescue dog just now, or even you mentioned earlier that you're trying to cook more at home.
Oh, I see.
You are validating their unique presence.
It pulls them out of the generic dating pool and says, hey, I am paying attention to you specifically.
Exactly.
But here is where I usually stumble. Once I notice something, I feel like I have to ask a question to keep the ball rolling. And this is where I accidentally turn into a census worker.
A census worker.
I just start firing off questions. Name, occupation, hometown.
Which brings us to the second phase, the ask. And you hit the nail on the head. The mistake is asking a question that requires a massive amount of mental energy to answer.
Right.
You want to ask a question that opens a small door, not one that launches a giant interrogation.
Let's test this. I think we need a role play to really highlight the difference in cognitive load here.
Let's do it.
Let's imagine we just matched on a dating app. Or we just slipped into some DMs. I'm going to throw the classic low-effort approach at you first. You ready?
Ready.
Ooh.
Okay, immediately, as the recipient, my brain just groans.
Just a heavy sigh.
Hey is the absolute killer of conversations because it puts the entire burden of the interaction on me.
Right, because I gave you nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I now have to dig through your profile, find something interesting, and craft an opening line myself, even though you are the one who initiated.
Yeah.
It's a massive cognitive load.
Okay, fair. Let me swing the pendulum entirely in the other direction. Here is the high-pressure approach. Ready?
Ready.
What are you looking for on here? Are you dating seriously?
Wow. And instantly, my walls are up.
Too much.
Way too much. My nervous system is back on alert. I feel like I'm being interviewed for a serious long-term position that I haven't even decided if I want to apply for yet.
You haven't even read the job description.
Right. It demands a highly vulnerable, definitive answer from a total stranger. The weight of that question crushes the ease entirely.
So we have the lazy approach and the aggressive approach. Let's try to actually apply this new progression. I noticed one of your photos, and I want to ask a low-stakes question. Here we go.
Let's hear it.
Your Sunday farmer's market photo is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. What is your go-to market purchase? Overly expensive coffee, a bouquet of flowers, or a pastry you pretend is lunch?
No, see how differently that lands.
It feels lighter.
Much lighter.
Yeah.
Let's look at the underlying mechanics of why that feels so much better. First, it's specific. You validated me by noticing the Sunday market photo.
Right, the notice phase.
Second, and most importantly, it's low pressure. You gave me a multiple choice question. From a psychological perspective, multiple choice drastically lowers the cognitive load.
Because you don't have to think too hard.
I don't have to invent an answer from scratch. I just have to pick one and play along. And third, it's playful. It signals that we are just having fun.
It's opening a very small door. I'm not asking you to summarize your childhood trauma. I'm literally just asking about your carbohydrate habits.
Exactly.
So let's say you answer. You tell me you always go for the pastry. What happens next? Because if I just ask another question, we are right back in interview territory.
And that is where the progression shifts to the final phase. Connect. After they answer, you have to build a small bridge toward them. And this relies on a concept we can call the small self-disclosure rule.
This sounds like a minefield.
It can be.
Because I think a lot of us really struggle with calibrating how much to share. You want to be vulnerable, you want to show that you're a real human with depth, but you also don't want to accidentally unleash your deepest, darkest secrets before the appetizers even arrive.
The calibration is crucial. The rule of thumb for early self-disclosure is to share one honest sentence at a time.
Just one.
Just one. The goal is to be short, relevant, and human. It is not a therapy dump, and it is not a sales pitch.
Okay, let's explore the therapy dump. Because I have definitely been on the receiving end of this and maybe accidentally done it myself a few times.
We've all been there.
What is actually happening when someone shares too much too soon? Like if I reply to your pastry comment by saying, well, I actually avoid Sunday markets now because I have a lot of trust issues from my last toxic relationship, and honestly, I'm still trying to untangle my anxious attachment style.
Phew. Okay, while self-awareness is generally a wonderful trait, dropping that heavy narrative into a casual early conversation shatters the emotional safety.
It's too heavy.
Think of a new relationship like a bridge being built between two people. On a first date or in a first conversation, that bridge is made of twigs.
It's fragile.
It's very fragile.
Yeah.
When you trauma dump, you are trying to drive a massive semi-truck of emotional baggage over a bridge made of twigs.
Oh, that's a brilliant visual.
The bridge collapses.
Yeah.
The other person's brain physically panics because you're demanding a level of intimate emotional support that they just haven't built the neural pathways of trust to handle yet.
That is terrifyingly accurate. The semi-truck over the twig bridge.
So, how do I lay down just one plank of wood? What does an honest sentence sound like that doesn't bring the semi-truck with it?
You share a relevant human statement that reveals a preference, maybe a minor flaw, or just a simple truth.
Give me an example.
So instead of outlining your entire attachment style, you might simply say, I've learned I'm generally better at dating when things feel direct and low pressure.
Oh, I like that. Or, if they were just talking about how chaotic their work schedule is, you might say, I'm pretty driven in my career too, but I've recently learned that surrounding myself with calm people is really good for my sanity.
That is incredibly smooth. I've learned that calm people are good for my sanity. It's totally honest, it implies depth and self-reflection, but it doesn't force the other person to suddenly play the role of your therapist.
Precisely. It's just an invitation. You are laying down one solid plank of the bridge and simply inviting them to step onto it. You're mirroring vulnerability at a safe, manageable pace.
This all sounds incredibly logical when we dissect it like this, but I want to stress test these ideas against the chaotic reality of modern dating.
Bring it on.
I want to throw some hypothetical scenarios at you, things we constantly see out in the wild, and have you break down exactly what is happening under the hood. Let's call this our recurring segment, the dating lab test.
I'm ready. Let's analyze some behavior. Step into the lab.
Okay, rapid fire style. I name a behavior, you tell me if it creates ease or pressure, and briefly why. Remember, no gender stereotypes here, just human behavior.
Understood. Let's go.
Scenario 1, rapid fire interview questions on a first date.
Pressure. Absolute pressure. It feels like an interrogation, and honestly, it's just trying to fast forward intimacy by collecting data instead of building connection.
Data collection does not equal connection. Got it. Okay. Scenario 2. Making a specific observation about something they mentioned.
Ease. It makes them feel uniquely seen and invites them to share without a heavy cognitive load.
Love that. Scenario 3. Making overly sexual comments really early on, or oversharing personal trauma.
Pressure. Major pressure. It completely breaks the casual emotional safety by forcing a level of intimacy that hasn't been earned yet.
The semi-truck on the twig bridge.
The semi-truck. Okay, scenario 4. The pickup artist tactics. Playing strategic waiting games, purposely taking days to text back. We're trying to make them a little jealous to seem high value. Extreme pressure. That relies on manipulation and manufacturing anxiety. Connection built on anxiety is incredibly fragile. True ease requires transparency, not games.
Anti-games. Okay, last one. Sharing one honest sentence about yourself that relates to the topic.
Ease. It lays down a plank on the bridge and creates a safe invitation for them to do the same.
You crushed the lab test. But you know what? All of this is great for the actual date, but it brings me to the absolute most anxiety-inducing part of this entire process.
Which is?
The follow-up. The date went well, the ease was there, you laid down the planks, but now it's the end of the night or it's the next afternoon and it's time for the follow-up text.
Critical transition period.
Yeah.
This is where the illusion of ease often falls completely apart.
Yes, because suddenly the stakes feel real. You think, wow, we had a great time, but I am terrified they're going to lose interest.
And the panic sets in.
The panic. We either overcorrect and act totally aloof, or we accidentally suffocate them with text because we desperately need reassurance that they still like us.
This raises the ultimate question of modern dating. How do you show clear, unambiguous interest in someone without triggering their fight or flight response?
Right. How do you say I like you without making it feel like a heavy obligation?
The psychological tool for this is something we call exit ramp language.
Exit ramp language. Okay, I am intrigued, but I am already a little skeptical. Tell me how this works.
Exit ramp language is phrasing that explicitly communicates your interest, but simultaneously provides the other person with a comfortable, guilt-free way out.
Like giving them an off-ramp from the conversation.
Exactly. It is the ultimate expression of emotional safety because it removes all the perceived traps. It doesn't back them into a corner, and it doesn't guilt trip them if they don't feel the same way.
Give me the contrast. What does it sound like when I don't use an exit ramp, when I just use pressure?
Pressure sounds like a demand for certainty. It sounds like, I had an amazing time tonight. I really don't want this to fade out, so when can I see you again?
Oh, that's heavy.
Or via text, it's, so where's this going? Or, you've been quiet today. I guess you aren't interested anymore.
Ooh. Even just hearing you role play, that makes my chest tighten. It translates to, I am feeling insecure, and I need you to fix it right now by committing to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's an emotional demand.
Sure.
Now, compare that to exit ramp language.
Okay, let's hear it.
An exit ramp sounds like this. No pressure at all, but I'd really enjoy continuing this conversation over coffee sometime.
No pressure at all.
Right. Or, at the end of a date, this has been really fun tonight. Totally okay if not, but I'd be happy to plan something for later this week if you're up for it.
See, I have to challenge this, though.
Go ahead.
If I say, totally okay if not, aren't I just giving them an easy excuse to reject me? Like, if I open the door for them to leave, aren't they just going to take it to be polite? Doesn't that make me look passive?
It's the exact opposite, and this is the brilliant paradox of exit ramps.
The paradox.
Neediness says, I desperately need you to like me so that I can feel okay about myself. Confidence says, I really like you and I would love to see you again, but if you aren't feeling it, I am emotionally secure enough to be completely fine.
Wow.
When you offer an exit ramp, the other person's brain registers, wow, this person is incredibly grounded. They aren't trying to trap me.
And ironically, by giving them the total freedom to leave, you create the exact safe environment that makes them want to stay.
Yes, it's the ultimate anti-game. You aren't playing hard to get by ignoring their texts. You are just being genuinely emotionally secure. You are giving them the gift of space.
And space is the exact environment where genuine attraction actually takes root.
Exactly. When people don't feel pressured, they can actually tune into their own internal feelings and realize, hey, I actually really want to see this person again. Not because I have to, but because I want to.
This entire conversation has been a massive paradigm shift. I feel like we need to do a quick rapid-fire recap to lock this in for everyone listening.
Let's do the 5-point recap.
Okay, point 1. Early attraction is helped by ease, not performance. Drop the resume.
Point 2, being impressive is not the same as being comfortable to talk to. Tension versus safety.
Point 3. Use the framework. Notice, ask, connect. Start with an observation, ask a low-stakes question, and build a bridge.
Point 4, share one honest sentence at a time. The small self-disclosure rule keeps the bridge from collapsing. No semi-trucks.
No semi-trucks on the twig bridge. And point 5, show interest with an exit ramp, not pressure. Give them the freedom to say no, and they might just say yes.
That is a brilliant synthesis.
Now, to you listening to this deep dive right now, we really want to hear from you. We all stumble in different parts of this process. So what specific part of early dating feels the absolute hardest for you?
We want to know.
Drop a comment wherever you're listening with a number. Type 1 if your biggest struggle is just opening the conversation.
Type 2 if it's keeping it going without turning it into an interview.
Type 3 if texting after the date gives you massive anxiety. And type 4 if you struggle with showing interest without seeming too intense.
It's incredibly validating to see those comments and realize how universal these struggles are.
Absolutely. And speaking of navigating anxiety, you will not want to miss our next deep dive, episode 02. We are going straight into the tiny psychological horror movie that is a conversation slowly dying at the phrase, haha, yeah.
Oh, the dreaded, haha, yeah.
We are going to unpack exactly why texts suddenly go cold and how you can organically restart a conversation without sounding desperate. So hit follow so you don't miss it.
But before we wrap up today and before you head out on your next first date, take a breath and ask yourself something.
What's the question?
Are you walking in trying to win a job, or are you walking in trying to discover a person?
Discover a person.
Right. Drop the pitch deck and just enjoy the conversation.
Stop performing, start connecting. Thanks for joining us in the lab today, and we'll catch you next time.